Let's talk about the lawsuits filed by Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni, who were both starring in the movie It Ends With Us. I rarely watch movies. I can go years without watching a movie. However, I decided recently to get away from watching all these YouTube educational, informative, geopolitical videos and to watch some movies. I got a subscription to Netflix, I got an iPad, and I watched Prison Break and It Ends With Us. I actually kind of liked the movie, although there were some weird things about it. It didn't seem like a genuine DV movie because there was so much focus on the flower shop. I didn't see any kind of narcissistic type of behavior, red flag behavior in the beginning. And the ending was extremely odd. Even Dr. Ramani, who is an expert on narcissistic abuse, made a video saying that the ending was very odd because in the ending, uh, they just she says, I want a divorce, and he says, fine. Whereas we know in real DV cases, that is the most dangerous time for a woman to leave. The ending was completely fake. It was more of a chick flick than a DV movie. And a lot of people in the comments were saying the same thing. These women are like, when I tried to leave my husband, he was so mad. This is so unrealistic. Now, why was it done this way? It turns out that the movie is based on a book called It Ends With Us. Justin Baldoni spent many years buying the rights to this book. He has a small company and he worked with Sony to fund the book. So he was the director and the producer because he has a lifelong or very strong passion about teaching people about DV. He even has a podcast called Man Enough. And I'm going to show you some more clips about him. I'm not going to show you any clips about Blake Lively because I don't like watching or showing clips of people who are like very fake and contrived and nasty. And what happened is that I watched the movie, I put it away, and like 2 days later, it started coming up in my YouTube videos. I'm like, wow, this is very odd. I watched this movie and now there are lawsuits. It's all over the news. So I got kind of interested in it. I am not a celebrity follower. I had never heard of Blake Lively. I have heard of Ryan Reynolds, but I could not even tell you what movie he was in. Apparently Blake Lively was in Gossip Girls, which I've never watched. I'm not a movie person. I read nonfiction books. But I got kind of interested because I had seen the movie and she accused him of sexual harassment. But all the people that I was watching were saying things like she's kind of nasty, she's mean, she's a mean girl. And then I saw some interview clips of her that resurfaced, interviews she'd done some years ago, and she's really nasty to the interviewers, like she is condescending and nasty in all these different interviews. So just based on that, I thought, she doesn't look very good. What happened? So my initial thing was, well, let me look into some other things. I kind of Googled it and I learned that Blake Lively and her husband Ryan Reynolds are very well known in Hollywood. They're very rich. Apparently Ryan Reynolds is like an A-list star and they have a lot of power. And they met when they were each married to other people on a movie set in, I think, 2010 or 2011. They divorced their spouses. I think he was married to Scarlett Johansson. I've heard of her. I don't know what movie she's in. Then they married each other, and they've been married for 12 years and have 4 children. So now what I initially thought happened was, because she's so aggressive and she thinks she's so hot, and she's pretty, don't get me wrong, she's very pretty. I assumed that she's used to wrapping men around her finger because she's pretty. And Justin Baldoni wasn't having any of it. Like, he honored her as an actress, but he wasn't interested in her flirtation. and he wasn't falling for it. So I think that she was angry that he rebuffed her. Because initially, she was very flirty with him. She sent him a text, come to my trailer, we'll work on the lines, I'm just breastfeeding. And then all of a sudden, she's like, he harassed me. And then I also saw a YouTube short of some of the filming where she's just like pulling him in. She's very aggressive. She's just like pulling him into her, and he's just standing there with his hands at his side. So I kind of got the feel this was an Amber Heard Johnny Depp situation. And while I do acknowledge that men do harass women, I mean, we know about Matt Lauer, we know about Harvey Weinstein, we know about so many men, okay, that take advantage of their positions of power. But we also know of women who take advantage of their positions of power, like teachers abusing their male students. When you have sex with a underage person, you're a teacher, that's abusive. We also know about Amber Heard, who made up everything about Johnny Depp. And I think this is another case like this. As I started digging into this a little bit more, I think that there could have been other factors at play, but I still think that she's taking revenge because he rebuffed her. If you read the lawsuit that he just filed, and the lawyer for Justin Baldoni was on Megyn Kelly's show, and Megyn Kelly asked the lawyer, so are you going to sue Blake Lively? And the lawyer said, into oblivion. $400 million lawsuit against Blake Lively, a $250 million lawsuit against the New York Times. And like Johnny Depp, I am so glad that Justin Baldoni is standing up for himself. Now, there are people who feel like never talk bad about women, believe all women, but women don't have a get out of jail free card that we're just always the good ones. Now I'm even starting to wonder if the woman who accused Kavanaugh, the Supreme Court Justice, of some stuff in high school, I'm thinking she made it up too. When women lie like that, it really hurts all women who legitimately were abused. Now, another interesting thing, Justin Baldoni is just like a young, up-and-coming, he's 40 years old, but he's not well known. I think this was his first film. Maybe not. I think he's acted before, but this is his first chance as a director and a producer. And he has a small house in Los Angeles. I'm going to show you the clips of the house tour in just a second. This was from 4 years ago. They came and did a house tour. He and his wife and 2 kids. You can see what a cute little family they are. They're not well-to-do. It would be very odd for someone in his first movie role with just not even a well-known director to try to piss off the lead actress who's very powerful and well-known. Blake and her husband, Ryan Reynolds, in my opinion, threw their weight around. According to the complaint, they threw their weight around and tried to take over they kept changing the script, raising the cost. They kept changing the costumes. It was all about her costumes. And then when she went to the premieres, she never talked about the movie. She never even read the book. Blake Lively, according to the text that we now have, she never read the book. She turned down meeting with the intimacy coordinator. She didn't want to be bothered with any of it. She never read the book. It was always about looking good. And then apparently she has like a hair care line, an alcohol line, which she was promoting instead of promoting the film. But now I just want to show you 3 clips that I took of a house tour that someone did of the Baldoni house. So you can just see that they're just this cute little family in this kind of like small lot in LA. And then I'll be back on the other side.
Welcome.
Come on in.
Come on in.
Can you say hi? Come on. Want to show them the house?
You want to give them a dinosaur roar welcome?
Yes. You want to do dinosaur roar? Ready?
Come on in.
This is our kitchen. We actually built this house. So we tore it down and got to build our dream house, didn't we? Do you like the kitchen?
And Daddy is the best chef in the world. True.
It's not really.
So we actually, he uses all of this and has been a dream. I think this is probably his favorite spot
ever.
ever.
There are certain things.
Here we go.
I think every man dreams about having in his house. One of them is a barbecue in the house. Non-stop caffeine for parenting. Something that was important to us when we were building this house is light. The world can feel really dark and heavy, and we wanted to kind of make it feel like a resort, like we were coming home to a vacation. So we picked like rose gold. Emily actually picked all the fixtures. Rose gold, it like brightens everything up. It like, you know, it just feels really pretty and beautiful. I don't know. I've never done a house tour. Never even owned a house. Let's go.
Let's go to the back.
So we live in the middle of LA. These houses are small lots. Something important to me was how do you maximize like every inch of your space? I love optimization. And so when we designed the house, I just thought of every nook and cranny and I thought, okay, well, what can we do with that space? How can we turn that into like a livable area and make it work? So you're not normally able to like have a pool in a small lot like this, but we found one. This is an endless pool, which is really cool. I'm a bit of a health freak. And what's really cool about this pool is that there's a current. And you can actually swim against the current. And you can see there's a treadmill in the pool, which is just an awesome workout.
Yay!
Yay! One breath.
Nice. Justin's mama is a feng shui master. And she said it's really good to have fire in this area of the house. So here it is. I still haven't figured out how to turn it on. It's probably super easy, but
Button right here.
I don't know. There's a button right there. It never works for me. Anyway, it's super cozy, and this is one of our favorite spots. This is where we sit and hang out.
Okay, so that was filmed 4 years ago. And then Justin Baldoni apparently told Sony, when we do this movie, I want to donate 1% of all the proceeds to this DV organization. He also consulted with the DV organization in the making of this film, and he's very passionate about teaching people about DV. But in all the changes that they made to the script, I think that the changes were bad. He also has the rights to the second book, but she started throwing her weight around. I also learned that Justin Baldoni is what they call a feminist. He really advocates for women, and he has a podcast called The Man Enough. And he apparently also wrote a book called Man Enough. And in this interview that came up on my YouTube from 3 years ago, he is with his wife, Emily, and I just think it's just really nice to see them together. They, to me, strike me as a very genuine, heart-centered couple interested in growth, accountability, and they actually stand for something. The wife, Emily, actually has a passion for motherhood. She co-owns a company called Wear Ama, which has products for new moms, breastfeeding moms, baby wearing products. And she's a very simple woman. She's not hot. She's a very plain Jane. So I have 4 clips of the Man Enough podcast. So the first clip is going to show you just the introduction of what the Man Enough podcast is, because I want people to, I was very moved by these things I found out about Justin Baldoni. And so I just want to make a video just honoring what he stands for as a man who does personal growth, as a man committed to his family, and how their relationship really seems to be the type of relationship I would want, that involves accountability, love, personal growth, leaning in, and even how he relates with men and how they relate with each other. To me, is just so beautiful. So in the first clip, we just get an introduction to the podcast. And then I'm just going to follow that with a second clip where he introduces his wife and talks about her lifestyle company for moms. And then I'll be back on the other side.
Hello and welcome to Man Enough. I'm Justin Baldoni.
I'm Jamie Heath.
And we're hanging out, and every episode we're talking about what it means or doesn't mean to be a man. About masculinity. I wrote a book called Man Enough. You can check it out if you want. Undefining my masculinity, the need to undefine masculinity to make space.
To have comfortable spaces, to have amazing conversations with amazing people, and having some uncomfortable conversations.
Yeah.
Having some wonderful and inspiring conversations, all of them. Yeah.
And we have a very special guest on the show today. First of all, it's a very special day because it's your son's birthday.
It is my son's
Breakwell's
birthday.
5th birthday.
Breakwell is 5 today.
And it's also your wife's birthday.
And in fact,
because
when
of
you
that.
say that, it is my son's birthday, but ultimately that means it's my wife's birthday.
The day she gave birth.
The day she gave birth, and she's the one who has had to enjoy and endure and experience all of it.
And that's really what this episode's going to be about. My wife shows us just how badass she is.
Who's your wife? What's her name?
Her name is Emily Baldoni.
You've been married how long?
I have been married 7.5 years. This year will be 8.
And tell me, what's the best thing about being married to Emily?
Growth. She helps me and forces me to, and reflects me. Just tremendous growth.
What's the hardest thing about being married to Emily?
Growth.
Same thing.
Tremendous growth. It's, they're both
Growth, man. Growth is hard.
Emily has had an amazing career as an actress. We met because of these award-winning horror movies that we did.
They were fantastic.
Fantastic. And she now runs this awesome company called Ama, which does what?
It's a lifestyle company for mamas.
For mamas.
So our mission is to support mamas.
And she's an amazing mom also. And somehow puts up with me. So I want...
Okay, now this part of the podcast was super cute where the interviewer, I think the interviewer and the man sitting at the other end of the table are also a couple. I don't, maybe you guys know. And they talk about what are the gender roles and what is chivalry in this age. Like, you know, it was just a cute little discussion. So I want to play that for you. And then I'll be back.
Like, what does chivalry look like in 2021 if we're all sort of freeing ourselves from these expectations of masculinity and femininity and gender?
That's a great question. I feel like it starts small. It starts with your connection to yourself, constantly checking in where you are at in this new relationship. Are you acting out of love or are you acting out of fear? What's coming up for you? What is this other person mirroring back to you? What are you learning from him or her? So constantly checking in with yourself and doing the self-work. And then learning how to communicate with this new person in your life and his or her energies. Start there. Have intimate conversation and communication. Instead of just focusing on being physically intimate or going out to parties or whatever it is, make sure that you have moments for true intimacy, which is communication. Get to know this person. And if we had had that time to really get to know each other, which we got really, really great at later, but to have these conversations, then you will know how this person wants to be loved. And then that's how you will express your love.
I thought Emily gave a really great response. Like, when you want to do something for a woman, are you doing it out of fear or are you doing it out of love? I just thought they were so juicy and deep. I've never heard Blake Lively or Ryan Reynolds talk about anything like this. You know, like, you just have to look who the people are. Now, in this last one, I found this very interesting because if you watch the whole video, you'll also see that Justin talks about how they're trying to make him into a sex symbol. And he's super hot, don't get me wrong, he's very hot. But he himself feels very lucky to be married to Emily. And what happens, many people come up to him and, you know, and they think he's so hot, or they say, oh my God, your wife is so lucky to be married to you just because she's so hot. And he doesn't get it because he's like, I would be nothing without my wife. From the beginning, it was us. I wouldn't even have any of this if it wasn't for her. She is, and I think that is so beautiful because he's not only honoring her, but he gives voice to the fact that if you have a good partner, your life will be better. As much as I talk in my videos about how people can be difficult, because like, he said in the second clip, in the first clip, people force you to grow, can be uncomfortable, but the growth can be good. If you're with the right person who helps you to grow, your life will be better. So you have to pick the right person, and I think they have the right people for each other. So, you're so lucky to be married to Justin, they tell her. And what does she say? And then we'll end the video with that. I hope that you've liked this video, and we will see what the lawsuits bring. Quick edit, and then I will be back on the other side for my concluding thoughts on this video.
So, I apologize for not embracing what you said before with a more open heart, and I hear you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Emily, for that.
And thank you for sharing, Emily. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I think the point about you're so lucky to be married to Justin, which you feel in so many levels. Do you get asked? You're so lucky to be married to Emily, and I'm sure you do on an emotional level. They love her, but like, do you think people realize the work that it takes, the invisible work that it takes for you to be Justin, and that Emily is an integral part of that?
Yeah, and that's what's so confusing is, I intentionally, in the building of whatever we've been building, I didn't want to ever separate her from I. So from the beginning, it was me and it was Emily. It was not just Justin. I didn't want to be a sex symbol or the guy, what the shows tried to turn me into and things. It was always her and I. And I really tried to show that. And I still found, and she still found, no matter what. No matter me showing all this stuff, me publicly thanking her, privately thanking her, making sure everyone knew what she was doing, didn't matter. She still got the comments and the this and the this, and people would come up to you. And the thing is, like, at the end of the day, celebrity, and fans are fans, and I'm not going to fault them for that. But I only get told that, you're so lucky to be married to her by, I would say, strong women. And I love hearing that. To which case, if it were not for her, there's no chance that this would be here. And again,
okay, I changed my mind. I'm going to add one more thing here. Candace Owens also does not believe Blake Lively, and Blake Lively took over the script, everything, and Justin Baldoni just let her, which was a mistake. And I really recommend that you read the whole lawsuit or listen to Popcorn Planet or Zach channel as they read the lawsuit against her. But if she really wanted to direct her own movie, she could easily do so. They're very wealthy. They're high up in Hollywood. Why did she have to take over the passion project of this new director who lives in a pretty small house in LA? Why did she have to take over the script writing? And Ryan Reynolds took over the script writing too. Why did she have to change the costumes? She could have easily made her own movie. She didn't even read the book. Yet she's making changes, and the changes she made were bad. She was trying to make it more into a chick flick when it was supposed to be a DV movie. And then to add more fuel to the flame, Ryan Reynolds is currently in a movie. I don't follow all this Hollywood stuff, but in this movie, he has several scenes or several lines where he's mocking Justin Baldoni with specific things that were in the lawsuit. So maybe some people speculate what could have happened is that Ryan Reynolds got jealous with Blake's interest in Justin or whatever, or why was he in your trailer? Because she invited him over while she's breastfeeding. He's just going as a professional. I'm having lunch with everyone. Okay, I can be right there. Something maybe like that. And then she could have said, I'm just speculating now, well, you know, he is harassing me, he's coming on to me. And then Ryan saying, oh, well, then you should file a discrimination suit. The discrimination suit she filed in LA, or the harassment suit, is not public. So no one knew about it, and she was maybe just going along with it. And then because he was so jealous, he's mocking Justin, because they're a very powerful couple. If she was really harassed, why wouldn't they have stopped filming? Why wouldn't they have just stopped? Why would he mock Justin? He's jealous of Justin. He's jealous, and she's feeling rejected, and this is her revenge, in my opinion. Just my opinion. And then people were like, well, the public was saying, well, if he really harassed you, you should file a lawsuit. She was kind of, now she's pushed into filing a lawsuit. And because once you start one lie, now people are pressuring you. Well, honey, if he harassed you, you should file a complaint. Well, if he really harassed you, you should file a lawsuit. And she sent these very misleading partial texts to the New York Times over a long period of time. And the New York Times never checked these with Justin Baldoni to see if they were true or to get his side of it. And now he and his lawyer are releasing all the texts, all the emails, everything. And she's not looking good at all. And like Candace said, you better just, you know, you have no chance here. And now she's stuck. And this could ruin their career for good, at least for a while, because people forget. So that's the last part I have to say on it. I am convinced this is another Johnny Depp Amber Heard type of situation. In my opinion, Blake Lively is very selfish, self-indulgent, cold, angry, vindictive woman. And she went after Justin Baldoni, and he got caught in her crosshairs. You know, and because the lawsuit is filed in New York, we won't get to see it like we did I didn't even know women could be mean until the Amber Heard Johnny Depp trial. I didn't know, because all the women in my family were very nourishing, loving, kind women, what you think about with women. And I didn't know that women could be mean like that, Amber Heard type. And then I kind of started becoming aware of some other women in politics who were like starting wars and lying to us. You know, I don't want to upset people, but Hillary Clinton, you know, for example, and Victoria Nuland, like plotting all these wars, trying to overthrow countries, all the millions of people that have died because of these women. I'm like, how can women who are nourishing and loving and motherly start all these wars and lie to us? I just couldn't really believe it, but it didn't really click with me until I watched the whole trial, Johnny Depp, Amber Heard. And I was just shocked by how nasty she was. I'm like, a woman can be this nasty? I didn't even know until I was like 60 years old. And I think we have to be careful to evaluate each situation. You know, it's not believe all men or believe all women. Just look at the facts. Don't jump to conclusions. Like with the Karen Reed case. Initially, I thought she was guilty. But when I watched the case, I realized she was innocent because the news made her look guilty. The cops in Boston said she was guilty. It was the cops who said she was guilty. Even this whistleblower case, that AI whistleblower, they said it was a suicide. But then the parents came in and said, no, it wasn't. There's more to it. This was intentional. So sometimes we jump to conclusions because of a certain narrative or preconception. But that's why Emily Baker's channel is really good, because she looks at things also from a legal standpoint. She doesn't jump to conclusions. And a good lawyer never jumps to conclusions, because you are a good jury. You have to listen to the evidence. And what I gave you here wasn't evidence. The evidence will be presented in the court of law. I think if you want to read the complaints, you can do that. But just me on my own, what feels like more legit. I laid out my theory on this right here. So I guess time will tell. So anyway, thanks for watching my video, and I'll be back for your comments.